Hello, welcome back to another segment in excerpts from A Spiritual Ascension. Okay, I think you guys can see me a little bit better. Um, so I'm kind of in this energy right now where I'm in healing, doing some healing, and it made me think about other times when the universe kind of has you stay in place, like you can't kind of move. And I know it sounds weird that but there's reasons for everything. So when it initially happens, you're like, oh my God, like I can't do anything. Like I seriously can't go anywhere. Nothing's working out. If I try to do something or um, move past a certain point or whatever, like I feel like I'm being held in place. And it's true. There's reasons for that. The number one reason is that usually you're being held in place in order to be set up for your next phase. So if you just came out of a serious, hard, difficult challenge during your ascension journey, Spirit always allows you to do some healing. Okay, that's like how where I am right now. Came out of very difficult stage, that end stage where everything kind of comes on you at once, and you kind of go through this spiritual warfare type of thing. And when all that ends, it's like you really need a long time to do some healing. But not only was I healing from that, I was healing from this entire 5 years of this journey. Um, so I've had some nice time to kind of um, just really sit with the energy, reflect, heal my body also, and get rid of a lot of the pain and hurt that was caused by me um, transitioning from that um, first life. As I always say, you're having two lives within one lifetime into this new life. So the first time I kind of experienced this thing of being held in place, and if you're following along with my 5 year journey story, it's on a different playlist. Um, my father in spirit had come through from a medium and had said to me that you're, didn't really say that you were going to be going on a journey. Um, Later on, I'll kind of give you exact indication of what he told me, but I'm kind of in that phase right now. And I'm allowing the universe to kind of bring that phase about. Anyway, um, but he had told me, he said, you're going to be leaving your job. And um, I didn't know what that meant because had been working on Wall Street at that time, almost 20 years. And I couldn't see how in the world, like I depended on that income. Living in New York, how in the world was I going to quit my job? Um, but anyway, the chance in 2019 came up for me to be able to leave my job. And at first, I'm kind of like, is this what they want me to do? I'm like, oh, okay. So I took the opportunity to take like an early retirement. And I thought, okay, so now I could do my spiritual work. And I went about getting my yoga certification. I was going to open up a yoga studio, do Reiki because I'm a Reiki Master. I'm also a psychic medium, so I thought I could do readings. And, I had a whole plan set in place of what I was going to do after I stopped working. And so for the first 6 months, 6, 7 months, that's what I pursued. And I was, I did my certification and I was in talks of, opening a studio. I started putting a lot of money that I had, my savings as well as money I was giving for my retirement into this, figuring that over time, um, I would get that money back. Well, so you know what happened in the beginning of 2020, right? Pandemic hit. And now here I am for 6 weeks being held in place, right? Um, not being able to go anywhere or do anything because now also I have no income coming in. Um, I hadn't really set up a thing of doing readings online at that point, and all didn't know when this was going to end. So I figured, okay, in a month or so, can I go back to, I had an office that I was doing readings in. I was also doing, my Reiki, and had started to build a client base, and then all of a sudden that kind of fell through. Um, if you've been following my story, in April, I left New York and I went to stay with a family friend in New Jersey. His family friend, a family member in New Jersey. And that lasted for 2.5 years. And during that time, that was a major time of being held in place. And I couldn't understand why I can't get out of this situation. And my intent was to try to get back to New York. And it felt like I couldn't. Like everything I would try, I wasn't able to make enough money. Um, kind of trapped in this home with this family member and not being able to kind of do anything. Um, but the reason why I was being held in place was so that I could go through this untying of this karmic bond with this family member. And it took me over 2 years to see the relationship with this person was very toxic. And I had allowed it to go on for years and years and years and years. And still felt for the longest time that I was committed to this family member and did so much for this person. And but this person ended up treating me extremely bad, a point where it was emotionally and mentally abusive. And I think I did another video too, where people sometimes will view you as you're going through some kind of spiritual awakening, but they may think that you're going through some kind of um, mental situation. And this person was so evil and toxic that they were trying to even lay that type of thing on me. And even I got to the point of like, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, I know the universe has me here for a purpose, but I couldn't understand until it was kind of smack in my face and the universe like revealing who this person truly was, what type of person they were. And then I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, I got to get away from this person. So, um, leaving that situation finally after 2.5 years, and now having, I was at rock bottom, had nothing, had no money, nothing. And um, now having to try to get to the point of rebuilding my life in some way. Um, I'm going to say the next time of kind of being held in place was probably when about almost a year later, not quite a year, maybe 9 months later, um, when I was renting a room from this woman, before I actually went on my so-called true journey. Okay. The first 3 years of that 5-year journey was about me um, getting rid of past situations, past people, past circumstances. And that included family, friends, all my old material possessions, everything was gone. Excuse me. Then kind of being held for just a short time at this one house where I was renting a room with this woman, and Spirit told me again to leave my job. Um, and then I knew by the end of that month, I wouldn't be able to pay my next month's rent. And it was me kind of going out into the unknown and taking that risk to say, okay, Spirit, I'm leaping. Please put the net out to catch me. So I'm kind of at that point in my journey as I'm telling it to you guys in my other playlist. So if you want to follow along and go to that playlist, it's best for you to start at the intro and go from there because it's telling my entire journey from start to finish and what happened just before. And soon I'll be telling what's happened since then. The next time, but let me back up and say that, as I was saying before, that a lot of times spirit is setting you up for that next phase. So if you're going through some kind of severe spiritual challenge on your journey, and spirit always gives you time to heal, to kind of recoup from whatever you just went through, whether it be a couple weeks or a couple days or a couple like months or something like not always, but because it's kind of pretty, I shouldn't say quickly, like mine took 5 years. I had no idea I was going to be doing this for 5 years. But the last 2 years was more of a quicker, I can't say that, secession. Yeah, there we go. Um, of events. The next time I was in New York. Um, I stayed in a place, renting a room again for 2 months. And the person was going to be away for 2 months. So she rented out her room to me for those 2 months during the summer of July and August. And she was coming back the day after Labor Day. So I had to get another place after that. But it was kind of, again, that 2 months of being held in place until it was time for me to move on. And the thing was, where I did end up going, um, there's always reasons why the universe places you at different places. And you know already that your light is meant to affect other people, to awaken other people. And that's the reason why also that you're moved around so much so that you can come into contact with people in order for you to have your light influence them into an awakening. Excuse me. Let me take a drink real quick. Um, so sometimes when you're being held in a situation for a certain time, know that it's kind of like a not only a recovery time, but also a setup for whatever's next. And everything's about divine timing. So maybe the next situation isn't quite ready for you to come into it yet. So the right people aren't in place. Like for instance, the room that I was going to move into wasn't ready for me. And where I was end up being placed in this house, the room, it was in a place where it was secure for me, which will make sense later on. Um, but just know that everything while you're on your journey is spiritually directed, and you are always protected, always, always, always protected, even though it may be so difficult because you're doing this journey, this very hard, challenging journey in the human form. It's your soul who has gone through many lifetimes of going through very severe challenges already. And that's why in this lifetime, your soul is ready to take on this challenge. So, as your body may not be ready for it, your soul is ready at this point. I'm going to end it here because I got this tickle in my throat I can't get rid of. But thank you for being here. Hopefully, you understand what I'm trying to say with that. And I'll see you in the next one.